part 2 on this vintage Ford powered Lincoln welding plant. In part 1 we got the motor freed up, we got it running, we got the welder operating, we did some welding, but now it's time to finish the restoration on this plant and get it back into permanent use. So we're going to pull out the engine, we're going to pull out the radiator, we're going to pull out the welder, we're going to strip the unit down, we're going to replace the exhaust, we're going to fix everything that needs fixing, paint everything up nice, and then put it in its permanent home and start work with it. So, without further ado, let's just get on with it. So I ended up cutting a hole in this fuel tank so you guys can see what sort of result the vinegar's had. So after 4 days I am so impressed with the vinegar. Now I cut the hole in and it still looked pretty nasty, but I took it over to the pressure washer and pressure washed it and then blew it out just with a petrol blower, and you have a look inside now. It's like new in there. I'm really impressed. So yeah, vinegar is the way to go when it comes to cleaning fuel tanks. Okay, so now everything's apart. We're going to start with the carriage, which is this piece here, which goes underneath the whole machine and has the wheels so you can move it around. This has got quite a lot of surface rust, so we're going to wire brush it back. We're going to treat it with some nasty acid I've got here, which will convert it to metal, back to its metal base. And then we're going to paint it with a bitumen paint to protect it from future rust. Let's get on with that. So we've removed the worst of the rust. Now we're just going to give it a liberal coat with this acid I've got here. Now this stuff is pretty nasty, so you don't want to get it on your hands, so you want to wear your rubber gloves, put on your safety glasses, and keep a bucket of water handy, just in case you get some on yourself or your luxury motor vehicle paint or your dog or whatever. You want to be able to wash it off because it burns like hell. Okay, so get on with that. Pour some of this on and just splash it around. There you go. Okay, so I've given it a liberal coat of that acid. That should start bubbling soon as the acid starts eating away the rust and do its job. We're going to move on to the engine. We're going to change the oil. We're going to give that a coat of paint, fix whatever else needs fixing on that, get that ready to go back in. And then we'll be on to the frame, which is over... Oh, shit!
So this is the top cover, goes on top of the whole machine to protect it from the weather that we're working on now. And let's check out this cool plate from the manufacturer, the Lincoln Welder. It's in such bad shape, which is such a shame, but it's got the different size rods and what amperages they're used for. And then it's got information on the different types of settings. That's kind of cool. We'll try and save this. I'll try and sort of cut it and shape it, and we'll try and save it.
Oops, looks like I've upset the neighbours. Yes, I know, I'm making lots of noise again. I know, I'm always noisy. I'm sorry, look, it's not my fault you kids don't like the sounds of machines. Come on guys, I'll take you over and you can meet them.
The two little kids have got freaked out by my grinding, and they're stuck on this side of the fence. You can see Mum there, she doesn't look very happy on the other side. But there's the gate. The gate's open further down, so she'll guide them down to it and they'll get through, no trouble. Alright, enough on the wildlife for now. Let's get back to it. The 12-volt generator wasn't charging, and when I took it apart I found that these brushes were stuck in the hangers, and on the commutator shaft here the bearing had completely worn out. So it has an oil pot, but nobody had oiled it over the years, obviously just being on a welding plant, and it had worn through. So I've been out to the back, I found a spare back plate off of a Lucas generator, and had a good bearing in it. So I pulled the bearing out, and we'll swap that bearing over. We've freed up these brushes, that should get it working. Alright, we'll give that a final clean up and a coat of paint. Next thing I want to check over is the governor here. The bearing feels okay, a little bit dry maybe, but we'll have a look at it and see how it is. Well, it washes. That feels pretty good. I think we'll just oil that and put it back together. Yeah, that's it. Don't fix it. We'll put that back in. That's bloody weird, isn't it? Turn that up. Alright, awesome. That's the governor in. Just got to hook up the spring. Let's work in the linkages. And we've got the generator in, all new fan belts, and the starter motor. Now we'll move on to the radiator. The old Bakelite switch here that switches between welding and lighting plant has broken up, fallen apart, so we've got to replace that. It's more work for me, but it's good for you guys. You get to see what's inside a Lincoln welder. This switch. I've got one, that's a good question. Not trying to repair it. This is the original Bakelite switch, and it is just completely shot. It's all, the Bakelite's all rotten, it's just fallen to bits. It's had it. So what I've fitted is a modern switch. I don't like using modern stuff when I'm repairing old stuff. I like to try and keep it original, but I just can't get that switch. So I've fitted a modern freeway switch, and it has a sort of vintage pointer thing, so it'll be straight up for welding and down for the lighting plant. That should work. First time I've seen inside one of these Lincoln welders. Not a lot to it, it's just a big copper winding, and these are all the different resistors, I guess, for the different amperage settings. They all go back to a different plug where you plug in your welding leads, and over here is the variable resistor that controls the current. And my modern switch looks a bit out of place, but that's what you got to do to make it safe.
Well, how do you think it looks? Looks pretty swish, doesn't it? Now, we fixed pretty much everything. We've got everything done. It's pretty much ready for service. There's a couple of things I want to do just before you guys go, and that is, one is test the lighting plant side of it. So I've got a period light fitting here from 1950s with a couple of globes stuck in it. So yeah, after we've tested that, we're going to do a little bit of welding, and I'll make you guys something special to see. Right, let's fire up, plug in these lights, switch it to lighting plant, see if it lights these globes up.
Here's the socket, the outlet socket on the side of the welder plant. I don't have a plug to fit that, so I'm just going to strip a couple of wires and poke them in. Now don't try this at home, kids, because this can be quite dangerous. It's supposed to be 32 volts coming out of there, DC, but it could be 320 for all we know. Okay, time to have a look. So, do you like the cool sign I've made for you? This is going to be hanging up around here. We'll give it a coat of paint, pretty it up a bit, but it'll be hanging around here to remind you every time you come if you haven't already. It's a bit rustic and a bit rough, but hopefully you can read that. Cool. Well, welder seems to be working reasonably good. It's got a bit of a flat spot just on takeoff when you first start welding, but if you just tap it again, it smooths out. But it's working perfectly, really. I'm pretty happy with it. For its age and everything, it's another machine saved from the scrapyard. Give you a look around it. Come up really well. I'm really pleased with it. We can start it. Starts first time.
Well, there we have it. 1950s Ford powered Lincoln welder, brought back to life and back in service. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and by the way, if you're wondering, did that lighting plant actually work when I shoved those wires in? Yes, it did. Here's a little clip for that. Remember to stay safe in your workplace, and guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care now.